Wildflower Wool, and welcome to a brand new episode of New Start Monday Knits. Can you believe it? Monday is here again. Every Monday, I cast on a new project, and the last couple of weeks, I have had you vote over on Instagram and Facebook to let me know what that new project's going to be. So we're going to talk about that. I'll let you know what the votes tallied up to be and what the new project's going to be this week. I'll show you last week's finished New Start. I have got a finished sweater to show you from the 2-week sweater knitting challenge. And I have a sock progress, my socks. So let us start right off the bat with the new ball for this week. So this is the same yarn that I used last week, but I have another ball. I think, what did I have? About 3 balls of this to start with. Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. This stuff, Thick and Quick, is like the best name for this because it is quick to knit up. I posted this morning on my Instagram stories and on my feed and just asked, what do you guys think I should cast on? Should it be mittens or should it be a cowl to go with last week's New Start, which ended up being a hat? And okay, this is kind of a pun. Hands down, mittens was the answer. Almost everybody said mittens. A few people said cowl. I think a couple of people said, I think this week you should do mittens and then next week do a cowl because I know you'll have lots of this yarn. And I do. I'm pretty sure I have one more ball of this. And I probably will do a cowl. So I will have hat, cowl, and mittens. So I will have a whole matching set. So like I told you last week, Jam Cookie is the name of this. And even though red is not my favorite color at all, there's something about this, just the way the colors are put together. I guess I'm starting to think that it is a more the color combinations than the actual colors itself, I think, because if this was red, I would not have bought it. But being combined with the beige, I like it. Hey, Katie, how are you? I was just checking to see. I thought, okay, nobody has left any comments. I thought maybe my comments aren't working, but I think you guys are probably just busy knitting and listening. So welcome to everybody who is just joining in. Oh, Katia, how are you? Oh, it looks so sorted. Thanks. Thanks. I know this is the part of the ball that I did sort. The other walls are not quite finished yet. So anyways, this is going to become mittens. I am thinking 6.5 or 7 millimeter needle. Hey, Jocelyn. Oh, you have a Zoom call to get on. Well, hey, I'm glad that you popped in. I'm going to chat about our Thursday night check-ins in a little bit too. So I'll let everybody know about that. So this is it, you guys, mitts. So I'm not even sure if I've ever knit mitts using such bulky weight yarn. So this is a number 6, and this is like a really heavy number 6. Hey, Jennifer, how are you? And I think it asks for a 8 or 9 millimeter needle. I used a 7 millimeter needle for my hat, and it was fairly snug and warm. So mittens, I'm thinking I might, 6.5 or 7. I'll have to play around. So before I talk any more about the mitts, I might as well just show you the hat, right? This was last week's New Start. And I decided, remember I had told you that my sister-in-law was knitting that ribbed hat, and it got me back into that, I don't know. I had this urge to do a ribbed hat. So I ended up doing just a 1x1 rib. And can you see the cast on? This is that alternating cable cast on. Last week I couldn't do it and talk and read comments all at the same time, and I did not have good luck casting it on while we were chatting. But once I got used to it, it actually wasn't that bad. Once I kind of got into a rhythm of doing casting on knitwise, casting on purlwise, it actually went on fairly smoothly. Still definitely not as quick a cast on as doing like a long tail where you can just zoom and get those stitches on so super quick, but it wasn't too bad. As for stretch, I am pleasantly surprised. Look at, there is quite a bit of stretch there. I will even put it on. Oh, it is so warm. This hat is like the simplest, easiest hat ever to knit. I cast on 52 stitches. I had started with 45. So my sister-in-law, the hat that I had done for her, that she was was her inspiration that she wanted to recreate. I asked her, I said, how many stitches did I cast on? And so she counted. It was a knit 2, purl 1 rib. And she said there was 45 stitches on there. I cast on 45 stitches with my 7mm needle. 45. No, I guess I did 46 because I needed an even number. I did a little bit and I looked at it and I'm like, this looks too small. So I'm not sure with that other hat if I had done a larger needle size. Hey, Nadine. Anyways, I don't know. But anyways, 45 stitches was just kind of my starting out point. But I listened to my gut and I'm just like, that 46 stitches looks too small. Oh, it's the middle of the night. Oh, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. for you. Kat, that was Katya, I think that said that, wasn't that? Oh my goodness, you were up late. Just woke up. Oh, to take a look at my knitting. You are so sweet. So anyway, so the hat. So I took it all off. I measured it, and I think it was only 16 inches, and I wanted to add a couple of extra inches on there. Checked my gauge, and I ended up adding 6 more stitches. I was getting about 3 stitches to the inch. I wanted 2 more inches, so I added on 6, and voila. So I think that makes 52 stitches I cast on. I did the alternating cable cast on, and then I just worked knit 1, purl 1 all the way up for 9 inches. And then I just knit 2 together all the way around, left a long tail, snipped it, put it on a darning needle, picked up all the stitches, pulled it tight like a drawstring, and then that's how that's what the top looks like. But this edge, you guys, I may have to, I think I will use this. I think I will. There is enough stretch in here. Now, I would say I also am a very loose knitter, so if you're going to cast on, you'll want to make sure you cast on loose with this as well, because you don't want it tight. There's the knitted cast on. To me, the knitted cast on has got that. It has a little bit of stretch, and then you hit that wall. Hey, Anne, how are you? Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like it. I think it's cute too. But the cable cast on, is a durable cast on, and typically it is a fairly tight cast on too. But I think it's because we're switching between a knit cast on and a purl cast on. That's giving it some extra stretch. So there's like a lot. Like even when I pull it here, I'm starting to feel a little resistance, but there's enough room that it's easy to go on. I like it. And I cannot, okay, my hair is going to look terrible. How many times can you put a hat on and off without messing up your hair? But that's okay. The knitting's more important than my hair, right? But look at that cast on, you guys. I just kept stopping and staring at this because like it just looks like a knit and a purl, a knit and a purl. I have got not a very good sample here to show you. I don't have enough done. You have to cast on a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you again. This here, it does what you know what? I'm going to do this. Now, I had told you guys I was going to, it is warm. I am hot between having my bulky sweater on and that hat. I'm like, whew, that is warm. Okay. I told you guys I was going to put up a video and showing you this cast on, and I apologize because it just didn't happen, but it is going to go up this week so you can take a look. But I'm going to walk you through it really quickly of kind of what I have planned to say in that video. You'll just not be seeing it, the hands, you know, the camera over top of the hands. But what you're going to do is just leave a short tail. You make your slip knot. You put it on your needle. And then you're going to hold that needle with the slip knot in your left hand. You take your empty needle in your right hand, and we're going to make one stitch. We're going to cast one stitch on using the knitted cast on. So we're going to put that needle in that stitch, find our working tail. We're going to wrap it around just like we are knitting, pull through the brand new stitch, take our left needle, come all the way underneath it and scoop it up. So now we've got our slip stitch, our slip knot, oh my goodness, our slip knot and a knitted cast on. Now we're not going to worry about those. Now we are just going to start alternating a cable cast on. Hey, Anita. And we're going to work it knitwise and purlwise, knitwise and purlwise. To work it purlwise, I'm going to start, because we just worked a knit stitch, I'm going to count my slip knot as a purl. So purl, knit, I want to purl. To purl, I'm going to put my needle underneath the working yarn. And then I am going to come between these stitches from back to front. And now I'm going to wrap it just as if I was going to purl, and then pull that new stitch out towards the back. My left needle is going to scoop it up. Oh, so Jocelyn's back. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go knitwise. This time I'm going to put the needle over top of the yarn. Did I say that right? This time I'm going to go over top of the yarn, and I'm going to go front to back. And then I'm going to pull the stitch through and on. Now to do the purl, the yarn goes over top of the needle, and then I come from back to front. So you're just going to keep working. The needle's going to come in and do that cable cast on, and you're going to alternate. Now, if I stop and talk, you may say, like, okay, I can't. This is one where you kind of want to keep going. You want to do knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way through. If you get stopped in between, and then, because this was the problem I was running into last week. I would do a couple, then I'd be like, am I doing a knit or a purl? The way you can tell, can you take a look there? See where my working yarn is? I have 2 stitches. That is because I've just worked the purl stitch. After you work the purl cable cast on, your working tail is back here 2 stitches away from the end of the needle. So when I look at that, I know I just worked a purl. So now I'm going to work a knit, which means my needle is on top of the working yarn, and I'm going in front to back. Hey James, how are you? So that is just a little way to double check yourself so you know which stitch you need to work next. Now I'm going to work a purl. My needle is going to go under that working yarn, and I'm going to come from back to front and wrap it and pull it through. So once you get going, it's really quite easy. Not as super quick, but you can tell, and it's reversible. So if you are going to cast this on and knit it flat, if you were going to, I don't know, if it was a bottom of a sweater and you were going to knit it flat, you were knitting the back of a sweater and you wanted to do this and knit 1 purl, 1 ribbing, you could work it that way. If you wanted to work it in the round, you can work it in the round, and what either side is facing is still going to give you that knit purl look. So if we look here, you can see there's like a little short stitch is like a purl. This elongated is a knit. There's a purl and there's a knit. Pretty easy. And then once you get going in your knit 1 purl 1 ribbing, that cast on, it just seamlessly moves from the cast on right into your ribbed knitting. Very fun. Really fun. I like it. Now, Shirley asked me in the comments, she's like, Louise, your hat doesn't have a pom-pom. And I said, nope, not yet. It does not, but it is going to. I had this little bit that I was playing around with. Oops. Oh, that's my ball. This is what I had left over out of this large skein. So one ball will do this hat. I'm going to use this little bit left over, and I'll use that up in a pom-pom. And whatever I have left out of skein number 2, I'll have tons left over from mitts, because I'm thinking mitts will take less yarn than the hat. I'm thinking, or I think so. So whatever I have left over from both balls, I will work into a pom-pom for the hat. So the mitts, I am going to still play around with different cast on. Even though I'm so tempted, because I really like this cast on, to do it again for the mitts, I am going to revisit the Italian cast on, because it also gives you a knit purl kind of look. And I have to say, I have always been a huge fan of just doing the long tail cast on, because it's stretchy, it's durable. But there's always been a tiny part of me that when I do ribbing, I'm like, I don't know how well I like this. So I'm happy to try. So I'm happy to try something new, and I'm not sure if I'm going to like all of them. I'm bracing myself that there's going to be some that I'm going to be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to go back to the long tail. But this one, I think I would definitely use this one again, and I would definitely say I would suggest you give it a try and see if you like it for yourself. So mitts, thanks everybody who voted. I have to say, it's fun having you guys vote, and just seeing what everybody thinks this next ball should be. So mittens, they will be finished next week, and I will show you those. I have this idea, you know, when your yarn talks to you, this ball, I was really hoping you wanted it to be mittens, because that was kind of what I wanted to cast on. And I have this idea of doing a panel up the back of the mitt. I had briefly thought about just running up, like doing 1x1 ribbing around the cuff, and then doing a 1x1 rib. But then I thought, no, 1x1 rib, you're not going to see it, because 1x1 rib, like when it's not stretched out, almost looks like stockinette stitch, right? Oh, Katya, you're going to try it? You know what? Try it. You know, you never know until you try it for yourself. And like what I may like, you may not like. And I have a feeling if somebody's a really tight knitter, you may find it a little bit tight, but you know what? Try it, because I'm really happy I did. And it's something that I think I'm going to use from now on for my hats. And especially something as 1x1 rib. The mitts. I did a mitten pattern. So anyways, my wheels kind of get turning when I think about how I want to design something. And I thought, well, why couldn't I do like a ribbed panel up the back of the mitt? And I thought, because I'm really all about ribbing and it creating a really good fit. And then I had this thought. I designed a pair of mittens many years, like probably 10 years ago. And I believe it was called the button stitch. And it is a column, and it has like little buttons. And I don't know, I'm thinking I need to go back and look at that pattern, because I did type up a pattern. I wrote up a pattern for my students, but I'm sure it was worsted weight. I think, of course, I probably did it out of Patton's Classic Wool, right? A nice worsted weight. So I think I'm going to go scrounge around, see if I can find that pattern somewhere, and rework it for this super bulky, and then use it on a 6.5 or maybe a 7mm needle, and see what I come up with. So I think it's going to be a really fun challenge. I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to that. So, okay, speaking of challenges, can I stand up here? Jocelyn and I, so Jocelyn from Northern Knits Podcast, you guys, I'm sure if you follow me on social media at all over the last couple of weeks, you would have seen my IGTVs, some reels, some Instagram posts about our 2-week sweater knitting challenge. Well, it finished last Thursday, and both Jocelyn and I got our sweaters finished. I was totally amazed that I could knit a bulky weight sweater in 2 weeks. And I wasn't even rushed. And I hate to say that. Every time I say that, I think I am going to be, you know, tempting fate with the knitting gods. But I got it done easy peasy. Enough that I could actually I pulled out my cuffs and re-knit both my cuffs. Jocelyn got hers finished, and poor Jocelyn, she had to pull a couple of late nights because she had injured her back. And you guys all know if you have a sore back, you can't like move anything. And she had a few days where she couldn't move her arms without being in really, really, really serious pain. So she was not knitting for a few days, and she still pulled off a tunic length sweater with lace, which makes mine look super, super easy. So here, I'm going to show you what I've got here, if I can. I'm not sure if I'm set up the best, but look at, yeah, I can't really show you, can I? Anyways, you can see the raglan increases here. In the front, I've just got a nice garter stitch band. And, anyways, okay. I didn't have my chair pulled back far enough. I couldn't really give you a good look. And I haven't actually taken pictures of me wearing this yet. I will have to do that. Sorry. But it comes down. It's not super long. Just kind of comes down to the top of my hip. And I loved doing this. So top down, it took me a couple of nights to do the yoke, do my increases down to the sleeve divide. Then I did one sleeve and I did a second sleeve. And then I came back and I picked up, we were really fast. And you know what, Katya, the thing was, is that we worked on nothing else. And all of a sudden this was this great big light bulb moment to me. I'm like, the things you can do when you are not working on like 3 other projects. So then I came back up here and I immediately picked up the collar stitches and just put on the garter stitch collar. My vision for this sweater was something wearable and comfortable, and warm. It's bulky weight, so it is super, super warm. I just wanted something, plain and simple, a really fun, relaxing knit, and then something just comfy and wearable. I could just throw it on. I can wear it to work. I can throw it to the grocery store. I can put it on to go for a walk. Hopefully now it is March the 1st, so spring, even though it is snowing out tonight, hopefully spring will be here soon. And, this will be a great sweater to put on in a cool evening and just go for a walk. It was my gauge to garment sweater, so there was no pattern. I just took my gauge, my measurements, did some math, and away I went. Nothing fancy like Jocelyn's with lace. But Jocelyn and I both had so much fun doing this that we're going to make this a yearly event in February. So I think next year, we will open it up. I don't know. I know some people joined us this year. They just picked up some sweaters that they had started and had just kind of got put aside for something, a new cast on. And they pulled them out. Couple people, Zakia and Natalie, both finished a sweater. Cheryl was working on a sweater, I know. So maybe next year we can do something, whether you want to do an actual 2-week challenge, start to finish with us, or just pick up and do some sweater knitting to make that 2 weeks kind of a focus on some sweater knitting for yourself. Anyways, it was lots of fun. So it'll be the February again. And because Jocelyn and I had so much fun doing a live YouTube, just like we're doing here, talking about our sweater. We did it 3 Thursday nights in a row. We are going to do that again this coming Thursday because it's the first Thursday of March. And we are going to continue on doing a monthly live here on YouTube. And our focus is going to be on some of our works in progress that have been set aside. So Thursday night, we will be back here again. That'll be at 7:30, a little bit earlier than tonight, just because that works a little better for Jocelyn's her evening schedule. And we're going to talk about what projects, 1 or 2 projects we're going to pull out for the month and try to get finished. And then we will be back here the first Thursday in April to hopefully show you something we have got finished, or at least we'll give you an update as to the progress we've made on it. All right. I don't think, Jocelyn, we're not going to put too much pressure on ourselves. It's not like, you know, we're going to go sleepless nights trying to get a work in progress done. The focus mostly is just to get something out that hasn't been worked on for a while, get it back in the rotation, and try. I'd like to try and get them finished, but if we don't, we don't, right? Not the end of the world. So anyways, sweater knitting challenge was fantastic. My cuffs. So I did garter stitch. So right, garter stitch band on the front, garter stitch collar, and having done 2 of those in garter stitch, I had this brilliant idea that I needed to add a little fanciness to the sweater, and I thought I will do it on the cuff. So when I got my sleeves knit, I went right in and I did a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing on the cuff because, oh yeah, so Jocelyn's definitely saying no pressure. Yeah, no pressure. It's just going to be fun. And yes, more important, yes, try. Yes, exactly. That we try. We're just pulling something out. And sometimes you just need that deadline, that kind of that little push to say, okay, we know we're going to be checking in again next month. So that just gives you a little more incentive to sit and work a little bit longer on a project, right? And that's really what it's all about. So anyways, my cuffs. Yes. So of course, somewhere in my head, I thought this will be fine. The rest of it's garter stitch, but who says it has to totally match, right? Because I thought I'm going to put some ribbing on here, and then I did a little cable stitch, mostly because I have it sitting right here. I was working on this cable project, and it's going to be a cowl, and I put it aside for 2 weeks while I worked on the sweater, but I was really missing doing the cables. So I thought, I will just add in some cables along my cuff. I did it. I did it on both sleeves. And it was like, I wasn't loving it, but I didn't really hate it. And then I put the sweater on. I got all finished. And, and it was not like the night before. And I had time. I kind of had time to spare, you guys. And I put my sweater on, and I was looking at these sleeves, and I'm just like, ugh, this doesn't work. I had this brilliant idea in my head, but it just didn't look all that great on this sweater. So I had not wove my ends in, thank goodness, because I think in the back of my head, I kind of knew I wasn't totally happy with the cuff. So anyways, I just took out my cast off edge, unraveled my rows of ribbing, picked up my stitches, and then I did decrease, I think, about 3 stitches because, ribbing really pulls it in narrow, and garter stitch really expands it out widthwise quite a bit, right? So I decreased, I think, just 3 stitches around, and a smaller needle too, I think. Oh my gosh, I haven't wrote notes and I'm already starting to forget. Anyway, and I think it turned out fine, and I'm super happy, that it all matches. Why I did not think that in the first place, who knows? But anyways, I love it. I have worn this sweater a couple of days already. Yeah, 2 or 3 days I've worn this. And I like it. I'm happy. It was great. It was a super fun success, and it was a great thing to do. So that is sweater knitting. So my next sweater, and I don't think this is going to be, it is a work in progress. This is one that I started back in November, but I'm not going to save it for the Thursdays with Jocelyn. I'm going to work on this right now. This is that sweater that has the pleat. The designer is Marie Green. Remember this? This was the 2-week sweater. This was a sweater also that was supposed to be knit in 2 weeks, and there was no way I got this anywhere close. It's out of this book. And oh, thanks, Katya. So and it has the pleat. This is the Seaside pleated cardigan, which is really fun to work on. I've shown you my pleat a couple times. This is the pleat that has to be all sewn and tucked in together. Has the pleat and has this really fun slip stitch detail that goes all the way around the back and both fronts of the cardigan. So this one was knit top down as well. And it is a shorter cardigan. You guys, I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind. That little voice in the side and back of my head is saying, I don't know if I'm going to like the length of this. It's a little shorter than I typically wear, but I thought I'm going to try to embrace that, right? By wearing like a longer t-shirt or a longer tank top or something underneath it. And I'm hoping I'm going to like it. So I didn't let myself knit it longer because I want to try wearing this length of sweater to see if I like it. And I guess worst case, if I don't, I can always pull out the ribbing and make it longer. But I'm going to give it a go. So where I am right now, where was I? I think Friday night when we were live on the Fiber Friends Friday night knit in group. That name always is a tongue twister for me. I had said what I was going to do was pick up stitches to do the band, the front band, and I didn't. I found my needle and I promptly picked up the sleeve. So I had plans. I was going to do this band because I was chatting with somebody and I picked up this sweater and I had this like physical reaction. I have no idea. I picked it up and I literally went, oh, I have to pick up all those front band stitches. And I thought, why do I have that reaction? Why is that something that I do not want to do? And I have my ice fall sweater. You guys, a lot of you know, I've been getting a little pressure from some friends that I need to get this sweater done because it's been done for 2 years except the button band. And all of a sudden I had this another epiphany light bulb moment when I had this reaction to picking up stitches here. I thought, okay, somehow I'm having this mental block about picking up these front stitches. And I really don't know why, because that's all my other sweater needs. And then it'll be finished. And even though I had like talked myself into, I thought, okay, just pick up these band stitches, get the band done, and it'll be done. Without even thinking about it, I picked up the sleeve. So here I am again. I'm going to be stuck finishing off with a button band. I don't know. Does anybody else have that? Somewhere in the back of my subconscious, there was like this little voice saying, I don't like doing this. I don't like doing this. And it's not like I can't. It's really, I'm not so sure what the problem is. Anyways, that's that. So obviously that is something that I have to overcome this, mental block. It's the only way I can think to say it about why I don't like picking up these bands. This one here, I knit it on. And I did the same with, a couple of my other sweaters. If I'm designing something and knitting it, I always knit the band on the front. Always, always, always. Nope, not always. My Lopi sweater, I think I came back and I'm pretty sure, my Lopi, I picked up stitches for it. 9 times out of 10, I knit it on. Oh, okay. Okay, so you get that way about about picking up stitches. And sometimes I do that with my socks too, but I find that I will let my socks sit for a little bit just because if I want to pick up the sock and I want to pick it up and I want to knit, and if I have to pick up those stitches, maybe that's it. Like picking up is not knitting. It's not that rhythmic knitting. Maybe that is. But anyway, socks I don't seem to have. It's not like my socks sit forever in a project bag just waiting to pick up those gusset stitches. Not like my sweaters do. But I'm going to fix that. No more. I'm going to overcome this. It's craziness. But isn't that funny though? Just kind of the things you kind of find out about yourself, right? Okay, so Jocelyn's saying for her it's the sleeves. I'm going to come back and look at comments in a minute, guys, because I know I've missed a bunch of them. So anyway, the last thing I wanted to show you was my sock. So remember how I said I wanted to do a sock a month? I'm going to kind of revise that. I'm not going to call it a sock a month. I'm just going to call it 12 pairs in a year, because this is my lone February sock, and I have to measure it. But I did get my first ball of croy knit, if that counts as anything. I finished that last night. I'm going to measure this foot. Let's measure it right now. I know roughly, I found in one of my sock books where it kind of gives you a rough idea of the length to knit the foot depending on shoe size. So I have this person's shoe size 8. I'm really close. I want to leave about 2 inches for the toe. So I think I can do another, just a little bit, and then I'm ready to do the toe. So I've got another ball. That's the only one downfall with Patton's Croy, is it doesn't have the yardage like some of the other indie dyed sock yarns do. So if you're doing a large sock, like a man's sock, something that has a full leg and then a large foot, and you've got 72 stitches on there, typically you need 3 50-gram balls of Croy. You don't need all of the third ball, but 2 won't. 2 won't do it. So I had enough in my stash. So that's kind of what determines whether it's what's going to be a man's sock, or, you know, a larger sock or a smaller sock, is if I have that third ball. So socks are underway. Greener Pastures is the colorway. Let me pull it back out again. I've got it in this really cute bag. Has yellow bumblebees on it. And the inside has got really cute fabric too. Let me see if I can. It's really pretty too. So this has been my sock knitting bag for the last little while. So this sock, I am hoping, I want to get this finished this week. I want to get this pair done shortly. March or my third pair of socks are going to be shorty socks. So I figure I can kind of play catch up. A super big pair and then a really tiny pair. And then I should be back on track. So next week, my new socks, I'm hoping, are going to be my new start. And you guys can help me pick the yarn for that. So that has been it. And I guess I could talk a little bit more about this, because I did spend quite a bit of time this weekend. I am just having so much fun knitting these cables. Just random cables. It's not real fast, because every time I come back to the right side, I spend a lot of time analyzing. I'm looking and thinking, do I want to put a cable here? Do I want to put it here? Do I want to put it here? And then I may think about it, and then I get to that point, I think, yes, I want one here. Then it's a big debate. Do I want to hold it to the front? Do I want to hold it to the back? So it's not real super fast. This is supposed to, I think, be 30 some odd inches, 34 inches. It's not quite there yet, but it's okay. I'm loving doing it. So it's one of those projects that I'm going to be sad when it's finished, right? I think, because I'm enjoying it that much. So that's what I've got. The mitts, I'm really excited for these mitts now that I can cast those on tonight. And I will try the Italian cast on, and I will come back. I'm going to try to do both videos this week. So in the meantime, this week, if you want to look at the alternating cable cast on, there will be a how-to video on the channel. And then I will also do one for the Italian cast on for anybody who hasn't seen that one or tried that one. And then we can chat about it next week. So, okay, so hi, Sonia. So you looked in one of your old whip bags the other day, a cardigan. Oh, where you only need, what was that, the bottom bands? Why didn't I finish that? Sonia, if you find out the answer to that, please let me know, because that's like my ice fall. I know. Why is that, right? Oh, Jocelyn, you wound up a cake of yarn for a new pair of socks, and I'm currently looking for patterns for it. We're always going to want to, okay, I'm going to scroll back to the very beginning of the comments here, guys. I know it's crazy to never say we're never going to cast on anything else, right? Because there's so many fun things that we want to do. Oh, Antoinette. Oh, from New Brunswick. How are you? I'm really happy with how my hat turned out. Okay, so James, you finished knitting a baby's, a Christmas hat, an adult Christmas hat too. Look at you go. So you're making up your patterns too then, are you? I really like that. That makes me happy. Oh, yes. So Katya, so you're going to try the alternating cable for your next pair of socks. Yeah, I would. Yeah. You know what? I hadn't thought about trying them on my socks. I could try them on my socks. Because that socks you definitely want a super stretchy cast on because you've got to get it all the way over your heel and your instep and everything. Where did my... Oh, yeah. So Katya, that must have been about the doing the work in progress, right? Yeah, when you're saying it's more fun to do it together. Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so Katya, well, some big finishes within the next few. I am hoping so. I'm hoping for big grand plans all year long. So we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm still super happy that I was able to get this sweater done so quickly. So now I'm just kind of in this delusional world that I can get anything done. Except these socks that seem to be taking me quite a little bit longer than I would like. But who knows? Okay, there. I think I kind of scanned through everybody's comments. So I'm excited. Socks, sweaters. I want to try. I'm not sure if I said on this channel that what I'm really hoping is to try to get 12. Oh, well, I think that was my plan. That number just seemed awful high when I went to say it out loud. Try to do a sweater a month. I don't know if I can do a sweater a month. Last year I did 5 sweaters. Even if I bumped that up and got 6 done, I would be happy. Oh, James, you're knitting socks? Let me see if I can find this comment. You're knitting socks now from scratch too. Look at you go. That's fantastic. So, James, are your socks cuffed down or are they toe up? My go-to is typically always cuffed down, but with my socks a month, I want to try to switch that up. So I guess we can talk about a little bit more about that next week. I might switch those little shorties up and do toe up. And I want to kind of put in different heels and things too as I'm going along. I haven't really thought too much about the new socks because I just wanted to get this pair finished. And, as much as I loved doing the ribbing on it all, definitely much, much slower. But I think the fit, because that's what I had said, I think when we chatted about these last week, was that this is going to a person who I've never knit socks for. So I thought just to be really, really careful, I would do all ribbed. So I know that it's going to be a nice fit. And then I've got ribbing all the way down the top of the foot as well. Because I really want to persuade this person to like hand knitted socks. So I don't want an ill-fitting pair of socks to be the downfall of this, the cause of this person saying, no, I don't want another pair again. So I'm really trying to be, super cautious and do everything I can in my knitterly power to make a successful gift here. So we will see. But how is everybody feeling about their work, their knitting? Do you guys have plans? Do you plan out your knitting for the week? I think maybe I have bigger plans than I have knitting time this this week. I don't know. Hopefully this weekend I will get lots of knitting time. And yeah, and I'm gonna have to figure out. I have to find the yarn for my. That's the thing. But my sweater that hasn't been finished, I've kind of misplaced the yarn that I need to finish that ball band. So I guess that will be my first priority to be able to get that sweater done is to find the ball of yarn. I know it's here because when I was doing some organizing, I came across it and I set it, in a safe place. So I will have to go back and look and see where that is. All right, everybody. I think we will wrap this up. I am so happy that you all joined me tonight and left some nice comments, and it was great to chat with you all. So I hope you all have a great knitting week, that you're working on either something that you want to finish, or maybe you're starting something new too. You can always take take pictures and post it on Instagram, and you can tag me at Wildflower Wool, and then I can see what you're working on and we can cheer each other on this week as we work through our projects. So everybody, if you want to come back and chat with Jocelyn and I on Thursday night, you'll be able to see both Jocelyn and I, and we'll show you what we're going to be working on. I will literally dust my Icefall sweater off. Yes, Jocelyn, I'm so glad that you were able to join us for the whole time. So we will see you Thursday night. My Icefall sweater has been sitting on a mannequin for these last 2 years. So I will maybe have to take, well, yeah, give it a little shake off, find my yarn, find my needles. Oh my gosh, I wonder what size needle I knit that sweater on. Oh, look at that. This should just teach me a lesson, right? Start a project, finish a project, then you don't have to go back and try to find the yarn and guess what needle size you used. All right. This is going to be interesting. So we will chat more about that issue on Thursday night. So, and I will be back here next Monday to show you these mitts, and I will post pictures on Instagram if you want to see how they're working up throughout the week. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. Have a happy knitting week, and I will see you next week. Bye.